What's up, guys? This is the Michael Anderson Show, and today we're going to talk about the Azor Ahai prophecy, and I'm going to reveal to you exactly who Azor Ahai is. I'm going to tell you who Nissa is, and also we're going to talk about what Lightbringer will end up being and how all of this is going to come to play at the end of the series. Just to start things off, I'm going to tell you right now, Azor Ahai Reborn is none other than Rhaegar Targaryen. I'm going to tell you right now why Rhaegar Targaryen is Azor Ahai. But first we need to know a little more about Azor Ahai and what makes this legendary character important to the story. Azor Ahai's biggest claim to fame is the forging of the mythical sword Lightbringer that helps save all mankind from catastrophic darkness according to the Asshai legend. Azor Ahai's exploits are first explained to us by Salladhor Saan in a discussion with Davos, which appears in Chapter 10 of A Clash of Kings, Davos 1. Salladhor Saan tells Davos that the sword that Stannis Baratheon holds is not the real Lightbringer, and it is only a burnt sword. He tells the story of the real Azor Ahai and how he sought out to forge the real Lightbringer, the Red Sword of Heroes. Azor Ahai labored for 30 days and 30 nights forging his sword, but when he tempered it in water, the sword broke. Azor Ahai didn't give up. He took 50 days and 50 nights to make a new sword, better than the first sword. Then he captured a lion and tempered the blade with the blood of its heart, and once again the sword shattered. The third time, it is said with a heavy heart, for he knew what he had to do beforehand. He worked 100 days and 100 nights until it was finished. Then he called for his wife, Nissa, to come, and he asked her to bare her breast. Then he drove the sword into her heart, and Salladhor Saan tells Davos that her cry of anguish and ecstasy left a crack across the face of the moon, but that her blood and her soul and her strength and her courage all went into the steel to create Lightbringer. This last statement is our first clue that the legend of Lightbringer is not to be taken literally. It is a metaphor for something other than the forging of a physical sword. The line, her anguish and ecstasy, alludes to the physical relationship between Nissa and Azor Ahai, and not the actual stabbing of his wife. The entire story of the forging of Lightbringer is about the conception and birth of a child, and not the tempering and creation of an actual weapon. This is why Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark fit perfectly as the culmination of the Azor Ahai prophecy. Rhaegar, not Jon Snow, is Azor Ahai reborn, which makes Lyanna Nissa, and makes Jon Snow himself Lightbringer. This story doesn't make any sense if you take it literally. And for one thing, if you compare other prophecies in A Song of Ice and Fire, they're always metaphorical and shrouded in mystery. They're never to be taken at face value and interpreted as actual literal events. Okay, now let's take some clues from other places in A Song of Ice and Fire that can help us interpret the Azor Ahai prophecy a little better. The thrusting of a sword has been used by George R.R. Martin as a euphemism for a man having sex with or deflowering a woman throughout the series. This is shown specifically in A Dance with Dragons when Theon is talking with Lady Dustin in the Crypts of Winterfell. She was reminiscing about the past relationship with Ned's brother, Brandon Stark, when she tells Theon, "Brandon loved his sword. He loved to hone it. I want it sharp enough to shave the hair from a woman," he used to say, and how he loved to use it. "A bloody sword is a beautiful thing," he told me once. "I still remember the look of my maiden's blood the night he claimed me. I think Brandon liked the sight as well. A bloody sword is a beautiful thing. Yes, it hurt, but it was a sweet pain." Here, we not only have George using a sword as a metaphor for the male sexual organ, but also we have a mention of the sweet pain again, which is comparable to Nissa's agony and ecstasy. If Azor Ahai had really stabbed his wife in the heart with a burning sword, she would not have experienced any ecstasy. No matter how much magic may have been in the world back then, that just doesn't make sense. She would have had pain and death. That's it. It says that Nissa, her blood, her soul, and her strength and her courage all went into the steel. This fits perfectly for the act of childbirth and Lyanna Stark. Her character and her genetic attributes, her soul, her strength, courage, all went into the steel, which is Jon Snow himself, her son. Nissa died after the forging of Lightbringer, just like Lyanna died after the birth of Jon, giving one more similarity between the two characters. With Rhaegar being Azor Ahai and Lyanna being Nissa, the third party of this story, Lightbringer, must be Jon Snow. While discussing the Jade Compendium on the wall, it is told that the sword Lightbringer was never cold to the touch, but was warm as Nissa was warm. Comparing the warmth of Nissa to the warmth of an actual weapon doesn't work here, but it does make sense that Lightbringer could be warm like Nissa in that Lightbringer was also a person and not a sword at all. Similarities to Lightbringer and Jon Snow are also seen when Jon thinks about and states outright the vows of the Night's Watch. More particularly the part in the vow that says, "I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the cold, the light that brings the dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the realms of men." The sword in the darkness right there is a perfect callback to Lightbringer and Azor Ahai. The light that brings the dawn. Lightbringer was said to have was the weapon that Azor Ahai used and wielded to bring about the War for the Dawn and to defeat the others. I think all these instances point to the Azor Ahai prophecy not being literal, not a literal stabbing in the heart to create a sword. It is a metaphor for a man and woman coming together and creating a child. This union killed the mother, and the result of that union, Lightbringer went on to destroy the darkness. To sum it all up, Rhaegar Targaryen is Azor Ahai reborn, Lyanna Stark is Nissa, and the two created Lightbringer in the form of Jon Snow, who will go on to destroy the darkness and stop the long night. That's all I've got for this theory. So if you like it, please subscribe. Please like the video. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I will see you guys next time.